Have you ever stopped to think about why some people lose others' respect without even realizing it? Sometimes it's small behaviors that seem harmless but actually chip away at trust and damage relationships. We're not talking about minor flaws, these are toxic habits that can truly sabotage your reputation, leaving a negative mark that could take years to reverse. You might be wondering, well, doesn't everyone have flaws? Sure, we all do. But the truth is, these particular habits are especially destructive because they directly impact the way we connect with others. And if we don't recognize these patterns soon, they can become a real poison to our friendships and professional relationships. Imagine breaking free from these attitudes and building a solid image of trust and respect. The good news? There are practical ways to do this, and they're within your reach. Today, we'll dive deep into these harmful habits, but not only that, I'll show you how to identify and, more importantly, eliminate them. Let's open our eyes and start building a path toward a life with more dignity, respect, and integrity. Ready to discover what might be holding you back? Let's go. Harmful habits have a silent power to destroy trust, and the strangest part is that we often don't realize the impact of our actions on the respect others have for us. Gossip is one of those habits. It seems harmless when we share secrets about others' lives, but over time, it erodes any bond. When we spread personal information about colleagues or friends, we create an atmosphere of distrust. Who wants to share their life with someone who might distort or expose their vulnerabilities later on? This habit makes people see us as untrustworthy, and trust, once broken, is tough to regain. Another crucial point is understanding how this behavior can ruin relationships. Gossip is a trap. At first, it may feel like a way to bond, a connection built around a shared secret. But in reality, it creates a false sense of closeness. Instead of bringing us closer, it only gives the illusion of connection. Imagine that a friend confides a personal issue in you, and, out of impulse or carelessness, you share this with someone else. The moment that secret becomes public, the relationship weakens. No matter how hard we try to repair it, something is lost. To change this behavior, it's worth practicing empathy and respecting others' privacy. Instead of focusing on others' flaws and stories, why not have conversations that enrich and inspire growth? An interesting exercise is that, whenever you feel like gossiping, try talking about something constructive, a book you read, a new skill you learned, or an interesting perspective on something familiar. Replacing gossip with positive conversations not only improves the atmosphere around us but also builds a reputation for integrity, which is far more valuable and respectable. Being reliable is one of the most basic pillars for building respect in any relationship, whether personal or professional. When someone says they'll be somewhere or do something, there's an automatic expectation that this promise will be kept. However, a lack of reliability can cause this expectation to crumble, leaving a trail of frustration. Nothing is more disappointing than depending on someone who frequently backs out at the last minute. And worse, when we're the ones who act this way, we often don't realize the damage we're causing until it's too late. Imagine committing to helping a friend with something important and then canceling at the last minute without explanation. This kind of behavior ends up eroding the trust they have in you. Little by little, without even realizing it, that person starts to avoid relying on you, and the relationship cools down. In the workplace, this lack of commitment has an even greater impact. Colleagues and managers expect consistency, and when someone shows their all talk, projects end up going in circles. Respect fades, and the image of being a reliable person collapses. For anyone who truly wants to change this pattern, the first step is to recognize your own limitations. Instead of taking on commitments you know you can't keep, it's better to be honest from the start. If needed, try creating task lists or using organizational tools that help you plan your time better. Keeping your word is a powerful way to strengthen respect, and, beyond that, it's a sign of self-respect. The more reliable we are, the stronger our reputation becomes, and the more people around us value our presence. Interrupting people during a conversation might seem like a small thing, but it says a lot about how much we respect others. This habit, often unnoticed, sends the message that what we have to say is more important than what the other person is saying. Nobody likes to be constantly interrupted, it's frustrating and exhausting. And, often, we interrupt without realizing it, out of anxiety or even enthusiasm. But to the person on the receiving end, interruptions show a lack of respect for their ideas and time, which gradually damages the relationship. Imagine a work meeting where you're sharing an idea, and someone insists on cutting you off every moment. Besides being irritating, it's demotivating, and you end up feeling undervalued. The same applies to personal conversations. How many times, during a moment of venting, has someone interrupted to share their own experience, shifting the focus? The truth is that listening without interruptions creates an environment of trust, where the other person feels their opinion matters. Truly listening without just waiting to respond, strengthens any bond. If we truly want to get rid of this habit, practicing active listening is essential. A useful exercise is to pause and reflect on what was said before responding. Ask yourself, am I really listening, or just waiting for my turn to speak? Another tip is to maintain eye contact and avoid distractions, like checking your phone during the conversation. These small gestures show the other person that we are present and create an atmosphere of mutual respect. Listening isn't just a social skill, it's a genuine display of consideration for others. Complaining is such a common habit that we often don't realize the corrosive effect it has on our relationships and our own well-being. Constant complaints create an atmosphere of negativity that pushes people away and slowly drains the energy from any conversation. After all, who wants to be around someone who always sees the negative side of things? This behavior creates an image of someone more focused on problems than solutions, causing others to distance themselves. It's as if each complaint builds an invisible wall around us.
Want to transform your life from the inside out? Check out our ebook with practical tools for real change. Go to the pinned comment, click the link, and see how to start your transformation today.
Imagine a colleague who, every time you meet, starts talking about their boss's flaws, the traffic, the bills, and so on. Before long, you start avoiding these interactions because they drain your energy. Now think about how this applies to you. By making complaints a regular practice, you might be creating an aura of negativity that pushes even friends and family away. At home, with friends, or at work, this behavior makes others see you as a burden, which certainly doesn't help with respect and admiration. The good news is there's a way out. Instead of giving in to complaints, it's possible to transform this energy into something more positive. Practicing gratitude, for instance, helps shift your perspective. Try listing 3 things you're grateful for every day, no matter how small. It could be a good cup of coffee or a pleasant conversation. Another strategy is to look for solutions instead of problems. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I do to improve this? This mindset shift draws people in instead of pushing them away and projects an image of someone resilient and optimistic. By identifying and transforming toxic habits, we are, in fact, building a strong foundation of respect and trust with those around us. Replacing harmful behaviors with healthier, positive ones might seem challenging, but the impact is deep and lasting. Imagine the difference between someone who constantly complains and someone who offers words of support and encouragement. A positive person becomes a reference, someone who inspires trust and is valued by others. This is the kind of attitude that captivates and attracts, creating stronger and more genuine bonds. When we start adopting respectful practices, like active listening and mutual support, we begin to change how others perceive us. Instead of being seen as problematic or negative, we are recognized as reliable individuals worth investing time and energy in. A simple example of this is choosing to praise a coworker instead of criticizing them behind their back. This kind of behavior shows we are trustworthy and makes us people everyone wants to be around. Small actions, when repeated, can create significant transformations. That's why it's essential to keep this change constant and consistent. A useful exercise is to reflect at the end of the day, what actions did I take today that helped strengthen my relationships? This kind of self-evaluation keeps us on track and prevents us from falling back into old habits. Furthermore, by intentionally practicing respect, you're showing the world that you value those around you and can build healthy, long-lasting relationships. The more we exercise respect, the stronger our reputation becomes, and the more people want to be around us. Learning from your own mistakes is a valuable skill, especially when it comes to personal and professional relationships. No one is perfect, and we all make missteps along the way, but what sets respected people apart is the ability to recognize these mistakes and learn from them. Imagine that, in a careless moment, you shared a friend's confidence. Although the trust may be shaken, taking responsibility and working to correct this behavior is a step that helps rebuild respect and shows maturity. After all, the humility to acknowledge faults is a foundation of respect. The beauty of learning from mistakes lies in the transformation they bring. When you identify harmful behavior and commit to changing it, others notice this evolution. People appreciate someone who can look inward and adjust their path. A classic example of this is when a coworker acknowledges that they once failed to meet a deadline. Admitting the mistake and looking for ways to prevent it from happening again conveys that the person is committed to growth and continuous improvement. This type of attitude strengthens trust. But it's not enough to simply recognize mistakes, action is needed. Turning these lessons into concrete actions demonstrates a real change, not just an empty promise. Ask yourself, how can I ensure I won't repeat this mistake? This might mean planning your time better, paying more attention to your words, or simply listening more before speaking. Learning from your mistakes is a process of refining yourself, where each corrected action strengthens your image and deepens your relationships with those around you. The more we grow from our mistakes, the more we inspire others to do the same. Stoic philosophy offers us a powerful view of the importance of cultivating virtues like patience, self-control, and integrity in our relationships. For the Stoics, living with dignity and respect is essential, and this means controlling our impulses and acting according to our values, even in challenging situations. Imagine facing criticism or an offense without reacting impulsively. This approach, which may seem difficult to achieve, is the essence of Stoic self-control. When we're able to stay calm, we show others that we have mastery over our emotions and are centered individuals. This philosophy teaches that true respect begins within, by focusing on what we can control, our attitudes and reactions. Instead of being carried away by circumstances or the actions of others, Stoicism guides us to act with integrity and purpose. A practical example is, when faced with a frustrating situation, asking ourselves, is this within my control? By adopting this mindset, we stop wasting energy on what's beyond our reach and invest in behaviors that foster peace and harmony in relationships. This self-control generates respect and admiration. By incorporating these Stoic principles into our daily lives, we are, in fact, shaping our character and creating a strong, respectable presence. The practice of resilience and patience, for example, helps us handle difficult situations better and maintain serenity. When we adopt these values, those around us notice and inevitably come to respect us more. After all, who doesn't admire someone who keeps their composure and balance, even in the toughest situations? The more we apply Stoicism, the more we become examples of integrity and respect. Sharing personal experiences of overcoming destructive habits is a powerful way to inspire others to reflect on their own behavior. When someone admits that they've made mistakes but managed to overcome these negative behaviors, they create a genuine connection with others. It's the recognition that we're all flawed but capable of growth. Imagine someone who was once known for being impatient and reactive but, over time, learned to value silence and think before acting. This change not only improves their own life but also serves as an example for those around them. These stories of overcoming show that everyone has the chance to reinvent themselves, to abandon old habits that only bring strain and build a new reputation. A common example is someone who used to gossip but decided to leave gossiping behind and focus on constructive conversations. Transformation, in this case, doesn't happen overnight but through various attempts, mistakes, and successes. And by sharing this process, the person shows that even in failures, there are valuable lessons to be learned. This vulnerability helps create a relationship of mutual respect. However, what truly makes a difference is the ongoing practice of a new approach. Overcoming old habits requires persistence and dedication, but the results are worth it. By opening up and sharing these stories of change, you not only build respect for yourself but also inspire others to pursue a similar path of self-development. Remember that each small step is a victory, and by turning these experiences into lessons, you reinforce the idea that, yes, we are all capable of evolving. This process of growth is a constant invitation for others to improve as well. Constructive conversations have a transformative power in relationships because, rather than focusing on the negative, they encourage growth and mutual understanding. It's easy to fall into the trap of superficial discussions, but when we take the time for conversations that truly add value, we elevate the quality of our interactions. Imagine, for example, the difference between criticizing someone and offering honest and helpful advice. The first approach creates resentment, while the second demonstrates respect and willingness to help. This difference strengthens bonds and creates an atmosphere of trust. To cultivate enriching dialogues, it's essential to let go of behaviors like gossiping and complaining. Instead, focus on topics that promote reflection and learning, such as sharing book insights, valuable experiences, or even ideas that inspire improvement. The practice of healthy conversations leads to genuine exchange, where both sides feel they've gained something valuable. And the most interesting part is that, the more we practice this type of dialogue, the more those around us feel comfortable being authentic, creating a network of support and mutual respect. Finally, remember that constructive conversations are not just about the topic but about intention. When you speak sincerely and with genuine interest, people sense it and open up, strengthening the relationship. This approach shows maturity and a desire to build something solid. It's a practical way to show that you value the person you're talking to and have a real interest in their well-being. Over time, these conversations become the foundation for a healthier and more respectful coexistence, where everyone benefits. Self-control is one of the most powerful skills we can develop, especially when seeking to build a reputation of respect and trust. Having control over our actions and words sets us apart and shows others that we are people of character. Imagine the impact of someone who, even in the face of provocations or difficult situations, manages to stay calm and respond with balance. This approach inspires and attracts people because everyone recognizes the value of someone who knows how to handle emotions and acts maturely. This practice of self-control directly reflects in the respect we receive from others. When we act with patience and avoid impulsive reactions, we demonstrate that we are committed to our own values and respect the space and time of those around us. At work, for instance, by listening to criticism without reacting defensively, we show that we're open to growth, which in turn makes others respect us even more. In family situations or with friends, self-control helps us avoid unnecessary conflicts and promotes harmony. Developing self-control takes practice, but the benefits are profound and lasting. A good starting point is to adopt daily reflection exercises, like noting situations where we manage to stay calm or moments where we need improvement. By focusing on these points, this behavior gradually becomes natural and strengthens our image as trustworthy people. The more we demonstrate self-control, the more we become a reference for others, serving as an example of someone who acts with respect and integrity. This is the path to building a solid and authentic reputation. Now that you know these habits and the impact they have on your relationships, what are you going to do next? Are you willing to rethink some of your actions and invest in changes that will truly strengthen your image and connections with those around you? Remember, small adjustments in your day-to-day life make a huge difference over time. And the reward? A life with more respect, trust, and healthy relationships. So, how about starting today? Identify a habit that needs adjusting and take action. You'll see how rewarding this effort is. After all, who wouldn't want to be recognized as a trustworthy and admirable person? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to keep learning on this journey of transformation. Let's build a life with more meaning and respect together.